Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna show you everything that I knit in the year 2024. Happy New Year! I hope you all had a fantastic New Year's Eve and rang in the new year really well. I had a great time myself and I thought I would give you a roundup of everything that I knit in 2024. Now bear in mind I did take a really long knitting break. You can check out my other videos if you want to know more about this, and therefore I don't have as many projects as I did in the year in 2023, but I do think I still have quite a substantial amount, considering that I didn't knit for about 6 months at all. Right, I think we should get started because we do have quite a few things to get through. I do need my laptop, and I also wrote down the things that I knit so I wouldn't forget any of the projects, and I think we can start with sweaters. I have the pile here. It's not going to be in order, and I'm really sorry if I forget something because I also lacked, or I also didn't really put the stuff on Ravelry when I started it, when I finished it, and when I took the break, the things that I did do in that time, like at all. So I am a little bit confused myself, so bear with me. But the first thing that I know I finished fairly soon after the new year was my Dawny sweater by Rebecca Clow. This is a sweater that I made with the wool, let's see, World of Wool Marble DK is what the wool is called, in this really nice orangey brown color. And I held it with a strand of Filcolana Tilia in the color Caramel. I did knit on this for a while, but I absolutely love this sweater. It is one of my go-tos for work, especially because the cables just make it look so nice and cozy, and it's really thick as well due to the extra strand of mohair. I remember that I do have some leftovers, like 1 ball or 2 maybe, of the wool yarn. It's a really nice one. I highly recommend it. I bought it when I was in England a few years back, and I remember that in that wool there is a silk content in it, which makes it quite shiny and really lovely to work with. So yeah, this is one of the first sweaters that I made. I do recommend the pattern. I made size 3, yes, size 3, but there is a mistake in the pattern. I'm not sure if she's fixed it yet. I'm pretty sure she hasn't, otherwise I would have seen the update on my Ravelry library. But if you want to knit that size and need more information, you can go to my Ravelry page and check out my notes, because I did put in what the mistake is and how to fix it, because I had quite a lot of problems with that. So that was one of the first sweaters. Then I finished the Tuku sweater by the Petite Knitter. This is what it looks like. It's such a nice color work. Every time I look at it, I'm in awe that I actually made this. It is a circular yoke sweater with a really nice high neck. As far as I remember, there are no short rows, which makes it fit a little bit funny, and I wish there were some at the bottom after the color work. I'm just checking. I don't think there are any. I'm sorry about the crinkles. It has been in my vacuum sealed storage bag for a really long time. I only just pulled it out, and I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. I made this in size B, so the second size, and this is woolly knit 4-ply yarn in the colour cinnamon. I bought the cone also a while ago, and I used the off-white colour that they also have, and I used both strands double to get a DK weight. This colour work was a lot of work, but it was fun as well, and I think the results do speak for themselves, that it is absolutely worth it. I remember from the pattern it is very straightforward. I had absolutely no issues, and if you like the petite knitters patterns in general and colour work, I would say you have to check her out because she's just incredible. I did make this sweater kind of cropped, and the yoke is fairly deep. I'm surprised that there are no short rows, to be honest, but again, I could be wrong on this. It might be in the collar. It's, like I said, it's been a while since I knitted this. You'd actually have to look it up, but if there really aren't, which I'm pretty sure there aren't, I would recommend putting some in, at least like a few rows for a better fit. So this is the second sweater that I finished, and the last sweater that I have is my porcelain sweater. Let me pull up the stats. Here it is, the porcelain sweater by Lehom Samsø. This is a work of art. I really love the look of it. I actually have to cut this one strand down of yarn that's just poking out. This is a drop shoulder sweater with colour work. You work the colour work flat for the first portion, so this is worked flat, just the usual construction of you start with the back, and then you finish the back, you cast on for the front on both sides, you connect the front, then you knit the same length, and then you can connect it in the round, and the other two colour work sections are worked in the round. This was the first time that I made, or that I tried making colour work flat. I did not enjoy it. I absolutely despised purling with two strands. I don't know what it was. It was just really tedious for me. It looks incredible, but I wouldn't recommend it for beginners, or beginner colour workers, just because it is very difficult, and I have knit quite a few colour work sweaters now which have been a lot easier and more fun, and I was really close to giving up on this project because of that first portion, but I powered through, and I'm really happy with the results. Sorry, I've got my hair on it everywhere. It is very oversized. I made the smallest size XS to S. I know that the size ranges are not particularly great, but because it's so oversized, I think you do have a little bit more wiggle room than you would normally have. This is my go-to sweater when I need to put on something cozy, something warm, and just kind of want to be a slob on the sofa like I am today. This is one of my go-to sweaters. I made this in Drops Charisma, one of my all-time favorite woolly yarns, non-super wash, and I used the colour white and a really nice chocolate brown. I really like that colour combination, and I'm really happy with the result in general. It's just that woolly, the yarn itself, Drops Charisma, it started pilling and it started felting for some other projects. So I want to use up the leftover yarn that I have from this range, and then I think I'm gonna have to look for some other alternatives in the same price range. I mean, not that I need any more yarn, my stash is bursting by its seams, but just bear in mind that it is, even though I really enjoy the yarn also from the price point and the colors that they have, all the different ones, and it is very accessible for me, it has started pilling, and the overall wear for a really long time isn't the best. I used Drops Charisma in this sweater as well, I have to say, and I used a strand of Filcolana Tilia with it, and it holds up so much better. This really is just the pure Drops Charisma on its own, and like I said, you do have some pilling, but I think if you use it with a second strand of yarn, it will hold up a lot better and longer. I'm really on a brownie and nude trip because I think it's just very versatile, and I am into color, but at the same time, whenever I want to make a project, I think, oh, I should go for something neutral. Hence the next few projects. I have made another sweater which isn't with me anymore. It is the Semper sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. I made size B in the color, or in the yarn Drops Charisma as well, in the color 56. It's a really lovely brown greyish yarn, and this was actually a gift knit. I only have one picture because it has been gifted in the last year, and I really enjoyed this project. It was kind of a speed knitting trip because I wanted to finish this sweater in a month, and I usually take a lot longer for those, for sweaters in general, because I'm not a monogamous knitter usually. But this is a very, very basic pattern. It's a top-down raglan with a really high collar, which I don't love and the recipient doesn't love, but I just found that to be the best pattern, also from recommendations fit-wise, and because it is a compound raglan as far as I remember, which makes the fit a lot better than a normal raglan. And it is a double folded kind of standing collar, and I wanted something to be a bit flatter, but I couldn't find the right pattern, so I went with this one. And you knit it on 4mm needles. I want to make this pattern again for myself because, like I just said, I think it's a really great basic pattern. I am just worried that it will be scratchy on my neck because I am very, very sensitive around here. Even with the softest wool yarn, it's still itchy for me. So I have to think about that, but I had a lot of fun making this project, and the colour, I almost didn't want to give this one away because I thought it just worked really, really well with the colours that I have in my wardrobe and fit wise as well. So that is one gift knit that I did this year for sweaters. And then I have one cardigan that I made, and that is the Aoife cardigan by Petite Knit. Sadly, I also don't have this project with me. It is in my car because I need more cardigans in my wardrobe. This has been an ongoing battle for a couple of years now. I don't enjoy working cardigans, so I was really, really proud when I finished this one because of all this purling. The Aoife cardigan by Petite Knit, I made this in the smallest size, XXS. It does have a lot of positive ease, but it has this really beautiful neckline and neckband as well. It's really wide, and I used some Petite Knit buttons which just work so well also with the yarn. The yarn, again, I used Drops Charisma. I'm not sponsored or anything, but I just really enjoy working with this yarn, hence why I have so much in my stash. But here's the problem with this one. So I used the colour Light Oak, which is colour code 77. Again, a very nice neutral colour. I did enjoy making this this pattern. It has some really interesting shoulder constructions, which makes it almost look like a satin sleeve, but it's more of a almost drop shoulder cardigan. Really fun to make. I would make this one again if it weren't for so much purling. But the problem that I had with this cardigan is with the wear, and that is purely due to the yarn. In summer I wore this a lot, hence why it is in my car, because it's a really great layering piece. It's very oversized. I made it a little bit cropped, and the armhole depth is also quite deep. But it started felting in quite a lot of places, and that is worrying because I haven't even washed this garment yet, apart from the first block, which I always do just after I finish the project. But it started felting, and you can see the pilling under the arms, like the armholes, where you naturally, when you wear something, you have your arms down and it rubs against it, against each other, like fabric wise. It started peeling there, and it started felting on the back, which is not great, especially because I put so much work into this piece. So again, bear that in mind if you want to use Drops Charisma. I do recommend the yarn. I would just say hold it with another yarn together, and then you should be fine. The next one is a Slipover, which I have finished just before the end of the year. I finished this, I think, in October or November, I can't remember, but this is what it looks like. This is the Sunday Slipover by Anna Fiskum Sunday, that's her name. Sorry for the pronunciation. It is a really nice slipover. This has been a staple piece in my wardrobe because I really love the way it looks. It's a really great layering piece for when I go into the office. I made this in the size, I think the smallest size, if I can remember correctly. I didn't put in the size on my Ravelry page, but I made this with We Are Knitters Merry Fine in the color Emerald. This color is just so me. I really like Emerald. I wasn't a huge green fan, but I get drawn to this color every single time, over and over again. So I was really happy that I had this yarn in my stash. To be honest, the reason why I made this was just to get the yarn out, because I've had it for such a long time. I talked about this in my last podcast episode about this slipover. It is just a typical slipover. It has a smaller, no, a bigger gauge. The gauge is 15 stitches, and you cast on the back, and then you finish the back with some increases around the armhole, and then you pick up for the front, and then you do the same thing with the armhole, and then you eventually connect in the round. The neck is fairly high, but you do have a really nice neckline here. You have some beautiful increased stitches, and then a flat section in the middle of it, which makes it fit really well around the neck. And I love to wear my things with a blouse underneath, so you can put the collar outside and it just looks really good in my opinion. The only issue that I had with this, so the pattern was fine, the pattern is really well written, I had no problems at all. I've never made anything before from this designer, but I had this particular pattern in my stash for a while, or like my library for a while. The only modification that I made was I didn't knit the bottom as long as the pattern recommended, so the ribbing section is smaller, just because I don't enjoy, I like my sweaters and slipovers to hit around my hip bone and not go too much further on, so I did shorten that. The only thing fit wise with this, I would say, is that it is very narrow. At least for me, I know I have very broad shoulders, but when you put it on, it is very narrow compared to your shoulders. So the armhole depth is really deep, and it is not as wide as I would have wished, which still makes it look good, but it's just not what I expected it to look like. So bear in mind that with the armhole depth, but a really fun, quick and small project. It is exactly what I needed to get out of my knitting slump that I was in, because it has a very big gauge and also a bit of a stash buster, I would say. And then we get into accessories, and I did make quite a few this year. I'm generally not an accessory girl, but for some reason it just kind of accumulated, and it was fun to do something else apart from just sweaters and shirts and all of that stuff all the time. So the first one that I finished was the typical Sophie scarf. I'm pretty sure I started this just before the end of last year, and then I finished it at the beginning of this year, hence why it is in this year's video. If I mentioned it in last year's, then I'm really sorry. I made this in the smaller size. This is a pattern by Petite Knit, very popular gift knit and like stash busting project. I used the Mayo yarn in Fine Merino. I can't remember the colour, and I'm surprised I didn't put it in, but it's a really nice like beigey marzipan-y colour. I love wearing this. It was not as mindless as I thought the project would be, because you do have to count the rows, and because of the garter stitch it makes it quite difficult to see on what row you are and when you increase last. So I expected something a bit more mindless, but it was still a fun project, especially because it is so small. The widest bit is right here. I like to fold it in half and then put it around my neck and have it as just a scarf when I'm going out under my coat, because my coat is a bit wide around the neck, and then I would look like this. Very cute. I do really like this, and I'm very happy that I made it. Another accessory that I made, also from Petite Knit, were her penny gloves. This was supposed to be a gift knit, but I'm not super happy with how they turned out. It is a one size only pattern, and I used some Ferner Wolle, which is an Austrian yarn brand. I can't remember, in this really dark charcoal colour, and then I had some leftover Drops Kid Silk mohair in a lighter grey, also charcoaly grey. So I used these two to hold it together to get a really nice glove. They were fine to make, not the greatest thing in my opinion. I think the hype is very real and I don't really get it. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I completely stand by it. What I would change is the length of the cuff. I knit these completely to pattern, and the cuff is just way too long for me. Before you start with the increases for the thumb hole, so it goes, here's my elbow, it goes almost down to the middle, well, more than the middle of my arm, and it's just not practical for me to have this under my coat, because I like to wear sweaters underneath it, and then I would have to push up the sweater, get the glove on, and then put the sweater on top. So it's not the best in my opinion glove wise, because it is supposed to be a glove. So that's one thing I would change. I would make this bit smaller, maybe around here. And what I also noticed is that when I wore them for the first time, the hem started to roll up. Now I know you have a garter stitch border, and this works fine for the thumb hole, and I think it looks really nice as well, but maybe it's because I also made them a little bit too long, or like past my knuckles. My knuckles are here, and when I close my fist it starts to really roll down, which got really annoying. And yeah, it doesn't itch, which is a good thing. So I think I will keep these for myself, because like I said, I am sensitive to kid silk, and drops kid silk for me is just really incredibly itchy, and I have so much of it and I don't know what to do with it. So I'm happy that I could use at least some bit in an accessory that I can actually kind of wear. These are the Mercury socks by Kim Drotar, I don't know where she's from. These are lace socks, and I'm gonna have to show you this because it's just so beautiful. It is a free pattern as well, and I really enjoyed making these. You have this really beautiful lace detail going all the way down the sock. On the bottom you have just plain stockinette stitch, and then because I ran out of yarn, but it was kind of a happy accident, I used a different yarn for the toe, so it's got a white toe and an overall pinky sock. The yarn that I used was gifted to me from my brother last year. It is the Apokuntur Socken Wolle Alpaca. So it is an alpaca yarn, and you can definitely feel it. It's very soft. It does have nylon in it because it's an alpaca sock yarn. But I ran out of it, so that is why the toe is a different colour. I didn't expect that, but I guess it's because the lace does use more yarn than a regular pair of socks. And this is the colour Coral, I think. Rose Coral, if anyone is interested in Austria. And I had so much fun making these socks. Can highly recommend the pattern. You don't have a slip stitch heel, it's just a normal stockinette heel, so you can, I guess, change that to a slip stitch, which I kind of prefer. The only thing with these is, because these are alpaca lace socks, I am too careful to wear them. So I made these socks and I'm not wearing them. I also made the socks a little bit too small, so I'm gonna have to block them again and stretch them out. So the heel, the cuff is fine. The cuff is really stretchy and everything, but from heel to toe it is a bit too small. But apart from that, I really like how they turned out. I used up every last, well, not every last bit, but pretty much all of the pink yarn, and I just got it out of my stash, which is fantastic, and I got a beautiful pair of socks. Another thing that I made, but I don't have with me anymore because it was a gift knit, were the Rubka pouch, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Rat and Sea Witch. It's a very popular gift knitting pattern as well. I had so much fun making these. I talked about it in the last podcast episode because I only just finished them. I gifted these to my brother and his girlfriend, both got a different size. I used up some scrap yarns from my stash, which was also great, so they're also different colours. Again, this was so quick and so much fun to make, so I would definitely make these again as little like trinkets and stuff. And then my last thing that I knitted this year were some slippers. I made two pairs. One is again a gift knit. As you can tell, this has been my Christmas gift knitting section, just accessories and small bits and bobs. And I made the number 3 Doble Töffler by Liv Strangland. these were so much fun to make. I will make more and more. I now finished felting them, and for both of them I used Drops Alaska, which is a wool yarn, really thick and a really nice color range. And I made the size 38 and 39 for myself, and then the largest size, which is I think 42 to 44 for a friend of mine, which again I gifted, in the same yarn but a really light grey. I used the colour Toffee, and this is how it turned out. I'm really happy with it. The pattern, I was glad that other people made these before, because I was a tiny bit confused by the pattern. Just a typical like Scandinavian pattern with very little information and like hand-holding guide on how to make stuff. But the overall concept is really cool. You've seen these probably many times now. This is the colour Toffee, like I said. These are for my size. I used a sock on top of it after they felted in the washing machine to really mold them to my feet, which I found as a recommendation online, which really helped with the fit. And I'm just really happy with them. I'm gonna make more of these for not only gifts but also for slippers in my home, because I want my guests to have warm feet, and I have the yarn in my stash clearly, so I don't need to go out and buy some slippers. They are really great length as well. If I put up my foot, they just hit underneath the ankle. I guess if you wanted a high one, I'm not sure if you can do this with this pattern. I might be wrong on this one, but I really enjoyed making these, and yeah, can highly recommend this pattern for some stash busting things, because even if you don't have enough yarn for the whole thing, you can always use different colored yarn on the inside and then just put it in, because it is double layered, so you wouldn't even know or see that there is something else inside. So those were all of my projects that I knit in 2024. Still quite a few, if I say so myself. I had a lot of fun making all of these. You can go to my Ravelry page if you want more information on any of these projects. I'm trying to be very thorough again, and yeah, just put more information in how I found the pattern, etc. So it can be helpful for you as well. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment if you want. Share this with someone that you think might also like it. And I hope you have a lovely day and rest of the evening or morning or whenever you're gonna watch this. And I'm gonna see you next time. Bye!